Well. Welcome to another episode, guys. Of wait, this is on my face. My bad. I'm still getting used to this. Let's get this out of here. Hello, guys. This is JP over here, and over here is Javier.
Hi guys, thanks for tuning in with another episode of Real Rap Entertainment. I know it's been a while since we did a full episode, but thank you guys. Welcome back.
Oh yeah, and this time we are live, baby. We're different format today. We are doing this live using StreamYard. I want to finally do something like this. I've had a couple live streams, on the channel. Like I had one talking about YouTube drama a couple months ago, and then I did one 2 weeks ago, I believe, which is a college football 25 live stream. And I got to do more of those. That was a fun one, but um, yeah, this time I wanted to test out doing the podcast live. So yeah, here we are. This is the first ever live one. I don't know if we're gonna do this, constantly, but like of course there will be some that are taped because of
Hmm.
circumstances, of course,
Yes.
sometimes. But if we could do some live ones, that would be cool. I think we'll do live ones for maybe certain, it's stuff we'll talk about later.
Yeah, of
But
course.
yeah. So Javi, how was your weekend?
My weekend was fine. Just kind of did work stuff like that. Nothing too exciting. Really. How about yours?
It was pretty solid, pretty solid. Just kind of just did stuff. I just watched movies pretty much, and I went
Nice.
out to a festival, all this stuff,
Okay.
and it
Very
was
nice.
cool.
Very cool.
Food festival,
Nice.
of
Nice, man.
course. But yeah, nah, it was a cool time. I had a blast. And yeah, it was cool. Um,
Nice.
yeah, and one of the things that I did this weekend was watch the movie Trap, which I know you had watched as well.
Yes, I just
And
saw it today. Yep.
yeah, and that's what we're gonna discuss on the podcast today, actually, guys. So, this will be a spoiler discussion because, as you guys saw earlier, probably I did a review of Trap. So this is gonna be a spoiler discussion of it, as Javi already saw it too. But first, I'm gonna let Javi take the floor, give him
Mhm.
his thoughts on the movie without before we get into spoiling and giving all the details.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I saw Trap this afternoon, and M. Night Shyamalan, for me, he's always a hit and miss with his films. He's made some really great movies, like The Sixth Sense. I think The Sixth Sense is one of the best thrillers in the past 25 years. And Split is pretty good. His film last year, Knock at the Cabin, I enjoyed. So
Yeah,
Trap, I gotta say, is not in the fields with The Sixth Sense and Split and Knock at the Cabin. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't really a big fan of Trap. I It does have some interesting ideas, and it is really good to see Josh Hartnett in a leading role because it's been like almost like what 20 years since he's done a leading role. So, I mean, I think he did a pretty solid job for what he was given with it. But I feel the problem with Trap is a lot of it is very vague. I feel like a lot of the film was very vague, and when the film was kind of building up towards something, like just the end result is not really as big as it should have been. And another issue I had with Trap is kind of the character development with Josh Hartnett's character. I think it's interesting because basically he has two personalities. I mean, one, you see him as a regular average dad just taking his daughter out to this concert, but then deep down he's also a serial killer, a crazy guy known as the Butcher. And I feel like they didn't really dive deep into why he is the Butcher, how he became the Butcher. uh, so I was a little bit disappointed with Trap. I feel like every time I was leading towards somewhere, just the end result was really nothing, and especially with the ending too. Yeah, it just kind of left me like unsure. I know you were kind of a little bit, hesitant on the film as well. I mean, overall, I take it that you did enjoy because I know I did see your review on it. Your review is a little bit higher than mine. You gave it a 3 out of 5. I gave it a two and
yeah.
a half out of 5. So yeah, I mean, it's a good concept. Don't get me wrong. I liked the idea, but just its end results didn't lead up to much for me. And yeah, it's funny because, like I said, with M Night Shyamalan, his movies are either hit or miss, and I think Trap is one of those ones that he missed, unfortunately. I mean, there's some moments in it that are entertaining, but for the end result, it just didn't do much for me at the end with Trap.
So, yeah, if you guys want to check out my full views on the film, be sure to watch my review from earlier. Or it's not my full because this is going to be more of the full one. I get to,
Mhm.
spoil it. But,
Yeah.
if you want to see my video from earlier, be sure to check that out if you don't want to be spoiled. But yeah, I gave it a 3 out of 5 star rating. I still don't know how I feel about it, be honest, because it's one of those movies where I just feel like I was entertained throughout. I don't think it was really good, but it was interesting, and Josh Hartnett played a really good villain. So I quite enjoyed it, to be honest with you. Like, but I didn't think it was necessarily good. Now I'll give some of my key complaints that I talked about on the Real Rap review of this movie. So the one big thing is that it did feel like a huge advertisement for his daughter's acting slash singing career, because she played a huge part in this film. And you know what? That's
Yeah.
fine. I said this in the review too, that it's fine because he's funding his movie. This is his movie, so do whatever you want if you want to support your daughters. Because this is the second thing he's done this year to support his daughter. The first one was the Watchers film,
The
which
Watchers.
I
Yep.
still have to see. I haven't watched that yet. Um, but I do think that it did feel like an advertisement for that, or to like boost up her career. But there are some redeeming things about it, and yeah. So where should we start with this? Let's start from the beginning. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Kind of start from the beginning where they're like on the way to the
yeah,
concert, and yeah.
yeah. So we're gonna we're gonna pull up good old Wikipedia here, just in case I forget some stuff. Uh, But yeah, so let me put this on the other screen here. Thank God for two screens. So yeah, you have Josh Hartnett playing Cooper Adams. He is taking his teenage daughter Riley to pop star Lady Raven's concert as a reward for her getting good grades. Um, but notices a lot of police and SWAT teams there, and he's curious. He doesn't really know what's going on. He sees, you know, in the crowd, all of these men getting taken away, and he's just like, wow, that's weird. And for a Lady
Yeah.
Raven concert, what the hell is going on? It's like looking like, like it's a huge protest or something like that, like something where there would be like a huge amount of danger. And yeah, like it was kind of okay. So let me get into that too, and I don't know if you agree. It's kind of crazy just for one guy to get all these SWAT teams and everything. Don't you think? The FBI
Yeah,
and
because you have like hundreds of cops there. I mean, for like one guy, it's a little bit, I mean, it's obviously for the purposes of entertainment, the suspense, but yeah,
yeah,
if you look at it like for like one guy, they just basically had the
yeah,
whole Philadelphia because the film takes place in like Philadelphia, so you basically have like the whole Philadelphia police force, SWAT, like everybody looking for this guy. And it's crazy too because if they knew too, what I also find weird about this too is like if somebody knows that there's like a killer like at the concert, you technically wouldn't like hold this concert if you know that people are going to be in danger too. That's another thing that I found kind of like odd about the film, just like advertising that, oh, because there's a part two in the film where he's talking with the guy who's selling merchandise, the t-shirts, and he asks the guy like,
yeah.
oh, what are all these cops doing here and everything, and then he tells him, I'm not
I was
supposed
gonna
to
get
say,
to that.
but yeah, the butcher and
Yeah,
everything, and yeah, so I mean, it yeah, it just that part too is a little bit like, kind of like
yeah.
over the top, I guess. And another thing too that I do want to mention too, I feel like in the marketing side, they shouldn't even announced that Josh Hartnett's character was the butcher. I feel like that would have been a good twist. You know, they just should have said that,
Mm,
oh, there's a serial killer, you know, known as the butcher here at this concert, but they should have announced that he was the one in the trailer. That's just me personally. I feel like that would have
yeah.
been like a good, like, shocker kind of twist for the film.
Oh yeah, I agree. Uh,
Yeah.
so actually, I'm gonna get into it later
Mhm.
because it would have to do with the ending, and I don't want to go straight to the ending yet. But yeah, no. So it was. I will say, the vendor thing was hilarious too, where he's just explaining to this one, like it was just really, really dumb too, because you had this guy explaining to Cooper Adams about what the hell is going on, and it's
Mhm.
like, how stupid do you have to be? Because this is like, you get told, oh yeah, the butcher is here. He's at a Lady Raven concert, which it's kind of hilarious if you think about it. You know, this person who has killed 12 people, I believe that they said he killed,
Yeah.
and you know, all of a sudden they're like, oh yeah, he's going to a Lady Raven concert. You know, this huge pop star. Like that's kind of funny to think about, of all the people to go to. They even acknowledge that too.
Yeah.
That it's actually kind of insane. But yeah. So this vendor guy tells them, you know, yeah, they're all here to catch a butcher. They said he's here, and they're not gonna let anyone out until they know, if they, you know, if they know who it is.
Mhm.
Now, of course, we can't have a movie without, you know, stupid stuff. Like this movie specifically, we can't have anything happening without stupid stuff happening. So, you know, usually you would think Cooper, knowing that he's a butcher, would just be like, you know what, I'm just gonna act normal and do absolutely nothing to, you know, imply that I'm doing, you know, that I'm the butcher.
Yeah.
However, he does everything to make it so obvious that he's the freaking butcher. Like, cause you know, after this, he goes and he steals the ID card from the vendor, then learns
Mhm.
the phrase that will identify him as an employee. And he gets, you know, uses his card to get access and steal a police radio. And it's just like, you know, I get there's also the person that predicts every single movement, because she did predict the stuff he would do at certain points, like with the fire alarm and uh, all this stuff. But
Yeah.
like, it's just like it's so obvious. Like, damn, they really don't have that many security cameras in this film. Like, it's
Yeah.
just like,
He
oh,
he got away with, like, a lot of things, like, easily. I mean,
yeah,
the 2, where he's at the concessions trying to get food, you know, he puts those big jugs into the deep fryer, you know, with the fries, and then that
and no
causes an
one noticed.
explosion. Yeah, no one noticed, like, and yeah, it's and he got easy quickly because when he goes up to the roof and he notices, like, there's 2 SWAT guys there, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just a lot of things I feel like he got away with, like, super, super easily,
And
and
I could give him credit, or I give the benefit of the doubt if no one saw him push that drunk lady down the stairs. But like, come
yeah.
on, not one person saw him doing that to the freaking air fryer. Like, did the other employees didn't look back because they have to be cooking or something? Like, he just snuck
Yeah,
in like that.
that's obvious, and just to toss those in there too, you gotta see somebody, like, carry them and actually put them in the
Yeah,
fryer, like, no one's gonna be able to miss that. So, yeah, I definitely do notice those little, like, hints and, things like that that just, like, kinda didn't make any sense, and,
yeah,
um, just his way his character was too. I mean, you could tell that there was obviously something off about him because I remember there was one scene too where, like, he was, like, during the performance, there was, like, a special guest, um, and then, like, he came out through the floor, you know, there was, like, the side ramp, and then the floor kinda opened up, and he was
yeah,
talking to his daughter, he's like, "Hey, that looks really cool, let's go down and see what you know, he's trying to get his daughter involved too in some of the weird
yeah.
stuff that he has planned, so, um, yeah, I don't know, man, it's just some of it is just
It was
odd.
just like, man.
Eh yeah.
Uh, one thing I really hated in this film, I'll give you a negative that I couldn't really. Well, I could have talked about it in the non-spoiler discussion, but I didn't really want to spoil it too much.
Mhm.
But I know she was supposed to be annoying. I just didn't like the other, you know, her friend's mom.
Oh,
Absolutely
yes.
freaking annoying.
Yes.
Every time she was on screen, I'm just like, oh,
She kept on
her
bumping into
again.
yeah, yeah, and just saying the
Like,
same thing, and
please just go away.
yeah,
Like, it was
yeah.
just. it annoyed me so much, so freaking much because like it was just like, dude, like it just I I don't really see why it was really in the movie that much, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because her character was never really in like part of.
Useless.
Yeah, it was kind of useless. Yeah, if you think about it, it's just I guess her and one of her friends had like a fallout or something, and then surprisingly the mom was there with her daughter, and yeah, it didn't really amount to much. So yeah, her character was very like misplaced, I would say, and yeah, it didn't really
Yeah.
add up to it. But as we kind of like continue on discussing the film, you know,
Mhm.
another things I noticed too is how easily he got things like when he got
Yeah.
his daughter up on stage because M Night Shyamalan he has a cameo in this film. I mean, he
Did you
typically has
notice one thing
cameos.
about that, by the way?
Yeah,
Because like the it also was like one of the dumbest lines in the film. So we kind of pretty much went over very fast of what happened, in the last go. And like you said, like his daughter was suspicious because he kept leaving, and then he's like, "Oh, I forgot my credit card," and then he went to go find out more about what's happening, and
yeah,
just yeah, it was just like okay, like this guy is suspicious, and even a daughter thinks he's suspicious. But then he goes to, M. Night Shyamalan, and he's like,
this
"Oh,
came.
I'm the dumbest line in the film, by the way. Oh, I'm her uncle, actually. I'm her mother's brother.
Yeah,
Thanks for telling us what an uncle is, pal." Like, like,
yeah.
what?
It yeah,
Just
it didn't make sense, and how easily, he I mean, in a way, I mean, I guess it kinda because he did, kinda, like, m manipulate his way up there, trying to, like, say, like, lie that
yeah.
his daughter had just, recovered from
He said that she
leukemia.
had leukemia, right?
Yeah, yeah, he says
Yeah.
that, yeah, they just recovered and, "Oh, don't tell her anything," and then, then how easily he got up to go on stage, and I just found that odd, just how easily, I mean, I feel like if you tell somebody that at a concert, I mean, yeah, they'll probably be sympathetic, but they're not going to invite you up on, stage and things like that. And just how
Yeah.
easily they got things. I mean, she ended up dancing, on stage, and
Yeah.
then he continued to find out more information, that they were trying to get,
Mhm.
because they were trying to catch him. And then how
Yeah.
he went back. And let me tell you something. So Kid Cudi has like a cameo in this movie too,
Loved
and
him.
then
I loved him.
and then it's just a character. I mean, it's funny, but it's just the character they played was so odd too. Like he played like
Yeah.
such an odd character in the film. So,
Like, dude,
because
can
you
I
see
just
him,
say
yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Can I
No,
just
you're
say,
good.
like,
You're
the
good.
spoil I said in a non-spoiler discussion too, he was a plus for me.
He was
He
a
had, like,
plus.
5 minutes of time, and
Yeah,
he played
very
the most
short. Very
ridiculous
short.
character, and then he's like he's just playing this over exaggerated, like, celebrity that just, like, treats his employees like shit, and he's like,
Bad.
"I
Yeah.
want my kumbaya, bitch."
Yeah,
It
I
was
remember,
just
yeah, and then they
hilarious.
give him the long hair, he has the long hair, and he just, like,
Yeah.
flips it back, and yeah, I mean, in a way, it was a little bit humorous, his
It
character.
was.
I mean, it's
It
odd,
was.
yes, but it is, it is a little bit humorous, I have to say, but yeah, and then just the whole thing with the whole, backstage segment, I feel like how quickly things, again, were just able to go their way, um he wanted a ride. They were able to go backstage. Then they were able to get a ride in the limo. Um,
Let's get into that, though. Let's go hold on.
yep.
We
Let's get
gotta
into
go
it
a little
because
bit.
there's a
We gotta
reason.
get
There's a
into
reason. Yeah, there's a reason
yeah,
why
we're
that.
gonna
Yeah.
yeah, because now for the people who don't care to watch this movie and are just want to get spoiled or have spoiled, you'd think with what me and Javier are talking about, we're already like halfway through the movie. We are. We like there were so many points where I thought this movie was gonna end and it just didn't. Like it just kept going. And I'm just like, holy
Hmm.
shit. Like so yeah, so basically sorry again for interrupting you, Javi.
Hmm.
What happened was that Cooper finds out that because the reason we didn't say it, the reason why he wanted to go backstage is because the backstage area was the only area that would not have SWAT teams and police,
Yes. Yeah.
compared to all the other entrances that do. Every entrance has SWAT teams and police, but this
Yes.
one did not. Now he goes backstage, but then he sees, whoa. now it looks like they have SWAT teams and police there because this profiler is just so smart that she was able to know that he would maybe do that. But she wasn't smart enough to know that he might try to threaten to kill Lady Raven. Or no, I'm sorry, apologies. He would threaten to kill someone else and, tell Lady Raven, hey, if you don't let me and my daughter take a ride with you right here, right now in your limo, then I am going to kill this guy in this room, yada, yada.
Yeah, he had a
And
victim. Yep.
yeah, and this will be blown on your hands. Like no one, no, no one much. The profiler really didn't think about that, did she? Now, he.
Yeah.
The thing about this is like this profiler is really smart, but as the more we watch this movie, the more we find out Cooper Adams is even smarter, and it's like. But the thing is, I don't even know if it's that he's smart as much as the police, the SWAT team, and the FBI are so fucking incompetent in this movie because they are incompetent. Like, oh my god, they just let him get away with everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, so Lady Raven agrees to it, and because she wants to make sure this guy lives, and then you can take it from here if you want. Talk about this next part in the limo.
Yeah. So the limo, they get into the limo, and then one thing I found like just odd is how one because with superstars, pop stars, celebrities, all that stuff. They, after a show, they schedule typically to do another show or like a conference or, go to sleep, because get ready for the next show. And just how she just
Mhm.
wanted to go to their house. I mean, I get it. That's obviously a point in the film to obviously try to stop him. But it's just so random how she just wanted to go to their house. I felt, so yeah, so she agrees
What
to
was
go over their
the?
house.
Sorry, but wasn't it to like try to stall so that she couldn't get Cooper?
Yes, yes, it was because they
Okay,
it was yeah, it was
that's
stalling
what I was
basically
thinking.
to try to get him. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. It was like I know it's kind of like a
Okay,
little
okay.
odd, but in a way it makes sense to try to catch him.
And
So
can we just
they
say too that I'm sorry to keep interrupting you. I feel bad.
sorry.
Because there was one other thing I forgot to mention too. Don't you think it's also really odd and stupid that the FBI and everyone's trying to catch this one person, but because they're Lady Raven's crew, they didn't even bother to talk to the dad and everything twice,
I
and
know
they
they
let
kind of just
potential
let
victim get or not potential victim, but potential killer, get away with everything.
yeah yeah it's
Incompetent.
so anyway so when they get in the limo, she tells her driver to go to their house. So they go to their house, and then he kind of has, no way of really, getting out of it. Okay, she's there at the house, so she meets his family. So he finds out that he has his family, wife, and another kid, and they invite her over for dinner. And he's really trying his best to just like get her out of the house. Like they give her dinner, and then he's like, "Oh, you must be tired. We won't mind if you need to go." He's trying to get her out, and then she wants to play a song, and then she takes the daughter's phone, and then she uses his phone for the selfie, and then she just like runs in the bathroom with the phone. And then that's where we start to see things like kind of like escalate. That's when the family starts to notice, that there's something off, with Cooper, and he's constantly banging on the door because he wants his phone, and she just uses that as like a platform for him to be caught. So I mean, eventually when he breaks into the bathroom, she already had done like a posting on social media, just telling her fans like about this house and that to help this guy. The guy's name was like Spencer, who was locked in, and I think from there on, it's just crazy how easily from there he just kind of escapes. So then he he has his family basically locked up in a room, I guess, and then they
Yeah.
break out, and and then she eventually breaks out, but then he gets her again in the limo, and then they get surrounded by fans, and then he somehow
Well, it's even
escapes
worse,
too.
actually. It's even worse than that. I don't know if you remember, because there was it's the fact that they had him. So like she was in the bathroom, then they brought her to the car.
Hmm.
Uh, the one thing that was one big thing was when she started like repeating phrases that his mother would say because apparently
Oh
he has
yes,
you know
yes, I remember
yeah
that. Yes,
trauma with
yes,
his mother, because I guess his mother. Correct me if I'm wrong here, because I want to, make sure I'm, saying it correctly. But I think from what I remember, it was that his mother had sensed, even though no one else would have sensed it, his mother had sensed that this guy would have been a monster at some point, and
Yes.
these were all the phrases that she was saying because she knew something was really wrong with him.
Yes,
Even
I for
though,
yeah.
like I said, he seems normal to the public eye, but with her, she had that one gut feeling about him potentially being a future monster.
Yes. Yeah, she would say the things about the mother,
Yeah.
yep, in the limo, yep. I forgot about that part.
Mhm.
Um,
And
mm.
then he escapes because again the police are competent in this film.
Yeah, I found that he just easily escaped like twice, with they because
Hmm.
with the limo,
Yeah.
they shoot it down, and then he just has the helmet and the suit there, so he's escaped that. And then there was
Ow, you're sticking
another,
out.
yeah, like how, and then there was another because it was like all surrounded by fans. It was fans all around the car. So,
And I didn't
um,
notice that the door opened because if you think about it, like, so like, where did he? So did he go to the other side? Did he like? I want to know how he escaped because no one. They were surrounded like cop. You would think one person would have saw that they opened the door and
yeah,
escape. Like this dude, like I said, I don't know if it's that this dude is just really smart or that these people are just really, like this police and FBI and all like are just really, really stupid because like
yeah,
it's a mix of both because well, I'll talk about the ending soon. Or are we getting to the ending? I think we actually are getting to
yeah.
the ending. So
We're getting pretty close. Yeah. So
yeah,
after all that, after she escapes, doesn't he catches her, but then he escapes again, right? There's another part where he escapes, right? I feel like there's a part
we'll get
of
to that. Yeah,
we'll
we'll
get to
get to
that,
that
yeah.
because it's not that. So yeah, he captures her in the limo. She gets out and escapes. Then she goes meets Spencer and the fan that saved Spencer's life.
Hmm, yep, yep,
Because she told this fan like, hey, like she's like he's at this house near this statue. Do you know where that
yep,
is? It has this blue door. They find him. He's alive and well. He's like a 22-year-old guy that got kidnapped,
yep.
and from what I remember, also another thing if I'm not remembering it correctly or not, I think it was that the people he catches are people who are somewhat arrogant. Is that
Hmm,
what it was? Like there was like a specific type of person, like a specific type of way that they acted, and that's why he would go after them because I think because there was something earlier too that I forgot to mention also. There's a lot of details that I'm remembering now as we're talking about it. Like
hmm,
there was something he said there was like an urge that Cooper was saying that there was an urge that he was having where he saw Lady Raven have her inhaler because to all these people in the crowd she seems like this superstar, perfect everything, perfect
hmm.
voice, perfect looks, perfect life. And
Yes.
then you see her in the back end, and they show that she has some vulnerabilities, like she has asthma, has to take her inhaler,
Hmm.
um, but so and he said like he got an urge to kill from that or something like that. I don't know what it remember. I don't remember what it was. It might have been either that if it was just like they were just really arrogant, or they just you know he goes after people that are just too vulnerable, something like that. I don't remember what it was, but it was something kind of like
I think
that.
a kind of
Um,
little bit of in between. Yeah, I feel
yeah,
because
because
there was a
okay, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say that there was a scene where they were had like news footage of how he got
Mhm.
his first victim, the guy. He had his like with the van. He had like the van, then he asked for help, and then all of a sudden he just like pulls him into the van. So there shows like some footage of him capturing like the victim in the film.
Yes.
Yeah, so then from there, so where we left off on the lim so then the guy he's found, and then so Cooper now is back at his house
Yeah.
with his wife now. And it looks like he's about to kill his wife because he has a big butcher knife. That's his name, the butcher. So he has this big butcher knife, and then his wife is talks to him, and then tells him that she knew that something was off about him, and then she alerted the police, that they were going to the concert. Um, and then from there on,
because
with the
because the main detail for that was that she thought that he was having an affair,
yes, yep,
but then she followed him to one of his hiding spots. Well, it wasn't even a hiding spot where he killed anyone or anything. It was just a hiding spot where he just had a chair and a table and where he would think, sit and think.
yeah,
And he left the Lady Raven ticket there, and she was able to sneak inside. And that's when she had a suspicion that, that he was the killer,
hmm
which I don't know if that would, like, that's a weird plot point where would the FBI really put all that effort if there was like, there was no evidence there of like murders or anything? Like, I don't know. It was a weird plot point to me. Like,
no,
um,
yeah, it was, yeah,
yeah.
man, it just some of the stuff it just didn't make too much sense to me. It's just very like,
I see why
and
you gave it 2.5.
yeah, and then I feel like just again with going to the butcher, I just feel like his character development, we don't really know why he's doing this, how he became this, it's all very vague. Uh, and I feel like it'd be a little bit better, probably would have got a little bit higher if it was more character development on Cooper's character, Harnett's character. I mean, I feel like if
Well, we
we
do know
knew
why. I was thinking about that. We do know why because of his relationship with his mother.
No, I get that. Yeah, with his relationship with his mother, but I just feel like it should have just took that more like a little bit in depth too. Even though the
Mhm.
stuff with the mother, we know that, but still kind of pretty, vague. Um,
Yeah,
and I think he kind of I think Shyamalan he pulled kind of a point out from like Hitchcock from Psycho because that's pretty much a similar premise to Psycho, and I think just yeah it just and then when he's with his wife, they're eating the cake that she like baked like a pie,
mhm,
and
yeah,
yeah, and then that's where he kind of gets caught because there was something looked like there was something in the pie, and then eventually all the
yeah.
SWAT
There was.
there was something in the because at the end like or something because when he was eating the pie he like scrapes his fingers like through like the coating of the pie like the crumbs, and then that's where he
Wow.
started yeah, he starts to lose. I don't know if there's like something put in or that's just him just like freaking out, but it's like him starting to, like I don't know, like if he was almost drugged, you know?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I read
Yeah.
it here. It says like the Wikipedia one says, Cooper admits his hatred for Rachel and causing him to miss seeing his children grow up, and he
Mhm.
realizes Rachel drugged the pie with pills from his tool bag, leading him to hallucinate his mother expressing pride in him for feeling a real emotion. Because that's the other thing. He does have OCD and maternal issues, and I guess that he'd never really felt emotion or something like that. So it wasn't explained that well, like Javi said. So I do agree with him there. And yeah, he also wanted to commit a murder suicide. Like he wanted to kill his wife, murder himself.
Yeah, because that was he had mentioned that too. Yeah, when that was going on, but yeah, but then he eventually gets caught, and I think one of the lady cops. I think there's definitely like a reminiscence of his mother there with the lady cop. I feel like, because he's she was like kind of the one in charge of everything, and she kind of
Yeah,
knew all of his, like his little steps or whatever. And I think when he saw her like at the door, definitely that was like a reminiscence of her. And then they just like tase him like a bunch of times. They just like shoot him with all these like tasers, and they finally get him to the ground. So I and then they finally capture him, of course. And then
yeah,
right and then because he has OCD, like right before he leaves, he like fixes the bike because he's like, oh, okay, one more thing. And then, they're like pointing guns at him because they don't know what he's gonna do. So he just like the bike, he notices like his daughter's bike is knocked down, so he like, stands it back up. And I think from there on, they put him in the car, and then from there on, he's trying to get out of the handcuffs because I think he took something off the bike.
yeah.
Yep. To
He took the thing from the bike. This can I just say this was the dumb. So this guy, he's killed 12 people.
mm,
He's presumably killed a SWAT guy. As he had the gear. he has, assaulted a SWAT guy when he was getting tased.
Oh yeah, with the
And I thought
thumb to
this
the
was gonna be
eyes.
another Unbreakable sequel because I thought this guy was gonna have superpowers, and I'm gonna get into that in a sec.
Yeah,
Like, and they they give him for a guy who has shown that he's a huge threat. They give him so much time to just do what to put up this freaking bicycle. Like, why give him that much time? Just throw him in the car. Damn,
yeah,
you could just push him away. What kind of superpowers does he? He might as well have had superpowers because they were just letting him do anything. They let him embrace his daughter too, and
yeah.
this dude is a freaking danger, and you just let him go like that.
It is funny because yeah, I definitely felt like
Incompetent.
when yeah, and I feel like it was going to something referencing like Unbreakable or Split because when he got tased the first time, it seemed like he got more stronger because
Yeah.
he attacked that SWAT cop and he like put the thumb to the eyes, and then and I thought he was something was gonna happen, but it never really escalated. Um, so yeah, man. But then we all know then he gets taken away and then he's obviously trying to pick out the locks and and then at the
Successfully.
end yeah, successfully, and then at the end you see him with that crazy smile that he has,
Mhm.
and yeah, and then that's the film. And then did you the post credit scene too?
Yeah.
Did you see the post credit scene with the guy that he met at the
It's
merchandise
so
stand?
funny.
He sees him on the news, and he for some reason he was like kind of like obsessed with him too because he was telling him like, oh, he followed all of his murders and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, and then he realized, oh, I helped him because in a way he did without realizing it. He did like kind of help him. Um, but yeah, man. I mean, its concept I thought was interesting when I saw the trailer. But yeah, man, I feel like it just a lot of things just didn't make sense, and just with it being kind of vague to a certain degree. I mean, the whole film is not vague, but like with certain like plot and like character developments too. I mean, maybe like could have got maybe like a flashback, not like spend like a whole 10 minutes on a flashback, maybe like a 3 to 5 minute flashback between him and his mother or something, or his first victim, but yeah, but like that's when the film started kind of, falling a little bit flat for me. Those are some of the errors. I think, a couple of pros of the film. I think that Harnett, I mean, I think he did a pretty, solid job, like I said. He played his character very creepy. So that was a
Mhm.
plus. And I think with some of the, just like the elements, I think in the beginning of just kind of working its way up, and then finding out that the why all these police are there because of the butcher. I think that worked. But then as we kind of dive deeper later into the film, and then when Lady Raven gets involved, and then how he's easy to get away with all these things, and there's all these cops after him, it just doesn't add up to much, man. And yeah, that's why I gave it a 2.5. Yeah, I was thinking about it. It was like because after it was like as the film was going, it was starting off as a 3, but then it just with those things that I just discussed, yeah, kind of just like went down. It's not M Night Shyamalan's worst film because there are way
Oh,
worse
by far.
films. Yeah, so it's not his worst film, but certainly not his best film, and not a very good film either. I mean, I think if I would say this, if you're an M Night Shyamalan fan and you've seen all of his movies and you like his style, then give this one a watch. I'm not going to guarantee you'll like it, but I feel like there are some people who are going to like it, who are like M Night Shyamalan fans, and then other people who are M Night Shyamalan fans probably will feel a little bit disappointed from it. And it's not like I said, it's not like a horrible film, but it's just not like a really well thought out film, I guess, with just the vagueness and how things kind of escalate. If I'm making any sense about it, so.
Yeah, and okay, so I'll admit too. So like I said, I think I still stuck with the three. If I rewatch it,
Mhm.
maybe it'll go down a little bit, but I think right now it's still a three for me. Just because I think Josh Harnett does a great job carrying this film a lot. And like I said, I love stuff
Mhm.
like the Kid Cudi character. And I will say there's a couple things I think everything fell apart for me a little bit when the wife admitted that she was the one that called the police because I don't know. I think I said this in the non-spoiler discussion. if there was ever a time where M. Night Shyamalan, needed a twist, in my opinion, it should have been this movie because there wasn't there. I guess you could say that was a twist, but
Hmm.
I think there could have been more interesting twists. I wish there was something where I think this film would have been more interesting for three different things, and I've seen the suggestions a lot, so I'm not being original here. It's just stuff that I think work well. Like could have worked even better than what we got. I
Yeah,
Because it's
absolutely.
such an interesting concept. So either A, the daughter's the killer, that would have been interesting,
That could have been a
or
good point. Yeah.
B would have been the interesting thing for B for me would have been if the family knew he was the killer, but they just didn't care. And if the daughter wanted Lady Raven to be her personal singer or something, something like messed up like that. Like that is such a Shyamalan. That's what I was kind of expecting, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
Um, well, at least for the wife to know. Uh, or three, like the wife knew and like was kind of his accomplice, and it would have been cool for one of those three things to happen. Instead, we got the one that was like kind of least interesting, but because everything was so over the top at the end, because this guy escaped three times, he presumably escaped again. So
Hmm.
I don't know. I mean, maybe he did it because of that mid credit scene, but because they didn't mention that if he escaped or not. Um, but it's just like I feel like it could have, with the concept, with it being M Night freaking Shyamalan, like he this is the time where you go for that twist
Yeah,
because it's just would have
absolutely.
been interesting.
Yeah, no, definitely. He has a lot of twists and turns in most of his films. And I think that's what made him so known in his films is because of his
Yeah.
twists and turns in his films. Like with The Sixth Sense, I mean, it has a major twist and turn at the end. So, I mean, they have just so many to choose from. But yeah, I feel like with that one, it should have been a big, kind of big surprise towards the end.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, I don't want to say I'm disappointed. I kind of am disappointed in the film, but I kind of also really
mm,
liked it, or not really liked it, but I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd give it a second watch in the theater, maybe, but I I don't I it's not like one of my top 5 or 10 or anything, but
mm,
it was okay for what it was, like I enjoyed it for what it was, to be honest. I think it was just over the top. It was very Shyamalan-y. It was pretty funny because of all this guy was, like I said, this police couldn't stop anything. These cops,
yeah,
these FBI, they couldn't even stop there's nothing they could stop. They
yeah.
were so incompetent that it was just so funny to watch the whole entire time. So yeah, I think, to wrap things up for this spoiler discussion, this was quite the movie. It's entertaining enough. It's not the best movie of the summer or anything, but I think it's entertaining enough. There was some stuff that they could have improved on and did a little bit better, but overall, it's still a fun watch. And Cooper Adams is just a funny character to me, honestly. At this point, like it is just Looney Tunes style stuff at this, in this film.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it's it's I guess it's everyone is gonna have like a way how they feel about it, especially if you're very familiar with M Night Shyamalan's work. So yeah, I mean, it's really just up to like I guess the viewer and to interpret and like kind of what you're expecting from the film. I think I was
Yeah.
expecting, like you had mentioned, like a big twist or turn because that's what we're used to seeing in most of his films.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, we'll see how it does. I mean, I think this weekend it was in the top three. So I think its opening
21
was
million
like
so far.
21 million so far. Okay. And it's been out for what, since Friday? So it's been out for like
Yeah.
4 days now, 4 days. So,
Yeah.
um, well, we'll see how it goes on the box office. Yeah, it did go up a little bit on Rotten Tomatoes because last time I checked when it first came out, it was like at a 46, but then now it's up to like a
Yeah.
54. So it did go up
Mhm.
a little bit. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, it's worth watching. I mean, for me, I don't see myself revisiting the movie at least anytime soon. Because I'm sure it'll be on Max and probably by
I wish on
October,
Max
no,
this one.
It'll probably be on Max probably by like October, November, because it's Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
It's Warner Brothers, so it'd be on Max probably. I'm assuming like around October, November. So, but yeah, I
Which
mean
caught me off
that's
guard too. I forgot that it's not Universal this time.
yeah. I thought it would be Universal too because I know what was it? Old and Knock at the Cat was Old Universal. I know
Old
Knock at
was
the Cabin
Universal.
is
I
Universal.
believe that his last five films have been Universal. Don't
Universal, okay.
quote me on that. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure because I know Split was Universal. I know
Universal
that I know that Glass was Old
last.
was definitely Universal.
And I know
Um,
Knock at the Cabin because Knock at the Cabin it was on
yeah.
Peacock, and Peacock has the deal with Universal.
S-
So
So everything from 2015 to 2023. So The Visit, Split, Glass, Old, and Knock at the Cabin are all from Universal. So
Universal.
this is the first non Universal movie he's done since After Earth,
Oh wow, which is one of
and
his worst.
that was the yeah no that was his second worst film. I would say actually no, it's his worst film of all time because The Last Airbender merely just does not exist. It never happened.
Oh, that's one of the most hated. Yeah, that's I think yeah. Last Avatar. That's like oof, terrible,
It has
terrible.
5% on Rotten Tomatoes and all this stuff. Like it's horrible.
Ooh,
Last
yeah,
Airbender I'm talking about. And
yeah.
my dad. I feel like my dad did watch this movie when he was a kid, and I think personally, I think my father he was someone who was easily entertained, even if the movie was bad. As long as it was entertaining for him,
Hmm.
he liked it, even if the movie's garbage. But he saw The Last Airbender and he went to me and he's like, "This movie sucked. Nothing happened." That's how you know The Last Airbender was bad. If you can't
Pretty
even like
much.
convince my dad that it was like, you know, a good film, then you failed. Because it was rare, honestly, that he would say things are like the only things he would really say that to are Lifetime films. So yeah, if you felt The Last Airbender, what is wrong with you? But yeah, so that wraps up our spoiler discussion. Now it's been a while since we've done this podcast. We're not going to talk about too much news because there's so much. I mean, we've missed. I think the last episode must have been in June or
Yeah,
something
it
like
was the
that.
beginning of June, right after Furiosa.
Furiosa, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Furiosa. So
So
it's been
we've
almost
missed.
2 months, 2 months since we did a
Yeah,
real wrap
so we've missed
review.
stuff like, we've missed, so there was no episode in July, damn. So we've
Mhm.
missed stuff like John Cena retiring
Yes.
next year. That's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be his last Royal Rumble, last WrestleMania, last Elimination Chamber, maybe his last SummerSlam. I think it seems like it's gonna go longer. We missed a lot of stuff. There's been a lot of freaking news that's happened and everything. And um, you know, there's been a lot of shakeups in the movie industry and everything. And I guess to end off the show, uh, I want to spend one, you know, the rest of the show we're going to spend on one topic, one specific
Hmm.
news story that happened recently that I wanted to talk about, and I think it's a good discussion to have, because I want to get your input on it. Now, I want to say 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks? When did I go to Virginia? Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Or no, actually a week ago. A week ago. My apologies. It was announced that Avengers: The Kang Dynasty is dead. That movie
Yes.
is dead in the water. It's gone forever. Never gonna happen. Kang as a character wasted. He stunk. And Jonathan Majors, terrible human being, and we got the announcement that Secret Wars is still Secret Wars,
Hmm.
and we have a new orange logo for that. We got an announcement that the Russo brothers are directing the next two Avengers films, and we got the announcement that Avengers: The Kang Dynasty will now be Avengers: Doomsday, and the main
Doomsday.
villain,
Yep.
of course, will be Doctor Doom himself. And then the Russo brothers are like, we have to get, Doctor Doom is a very complex character, so we have to get the best actor in the world to play this character. And then comes out Doctor Doom himself. He unmasks, and it is revealed that it is Iron Man himself, Robert Downey Jr., which is a shocking, shocking thing. And I want to discuss this since we didn't get to talk about it, as we
Hmm.
didn't have a podcast episode that week. But I think, like I said, the final topic of today will be: is Marvel Studios desperate? Because there's a lot, there's a lot of people who feel that this is honestly a desperation move with how things have been going. And honestly, I want to get into it a little bit too. Deadpool and Wolverine, very good movie. I really enjoyed
Yes.
it. You guys check out my review if you haven't. I'm not sure how Javi felt about it.
Oh, I enjoyed
But
it very much. Very much. I liked it.
yeah,
Hmm.
I want to do a spoiler discussion, but it's going to be too long and everything. All I'll say is that it was really cool to see Wolverine, Hugh Jackman wear the Wolverine suit mask, and I think I think it was a pretty good film. I think this was a something that the MCU really needed. A very good
Hmm.
film and a good. I can't speak. It did a good job talking about or poking fun at the multiverse and
Yes.
Marvel's recent you have Deadpool like saying like, oh, let's be honest, the multiverse stuff just isn't working. It's time to move on. Like, he's just joking
Yeah.
about it
All
and
that stuff. Yeah.
everything. Like, I freaking loved that. That was hilarious. And it was just I'd say 99% of the jokes hit for me. It
Yes.
was just a entertaining time.
Very fun.
However,
Over the top. Yep.
yeah. However, now I ask, is Marvel Studios desperate? Because, like, I think they're taking the right steps personally. From everything I saw at Comic Con, so you have Deadpool Wolverine, which was great. And then I saw the Comic Con trailer for the Fantastic Four First Steps, which looks really good so far. They didn't start shooting the film, but they filmed a sizzle reel, and it was actually really really cool. And if that's the score for the Fantastic Four film, then I'm very very excited to see listen to it because it looks and sounds cool. It looked a little bit Wes Anderson-y too. I had
Hmm.
that vibe in the beginning, and yeah, I think they're taking some right steps. Even the Captain America trailer looked pretty decent. I know I'm still worried about it because of the reshoots, like being really extensive, but I think I'm still kind of excited, especially with Red Hulk. Uh, but I, I think people are worried because you're bringing back Robert Downey Jr., who is the heart and soul of this franchise for his role as Iron Man, Tony Stark, and you're making him not Tony Stark, you're making him to Victor Von Doom. And I think this would be all fine and dandy if, you know, Robert Downey Jr. wasn't, the main character of the MCU for a long time. I know
Yeah.
I get people's concerns, like,
Hmm.
I think he's going to do a great job as Doom. Don't get me wrong, but I do understand people's concerns because they're afraid that Victor Von Doom, he needs to be his own character. He needs to be, you know, he's in the Marvel comics. He is probably the greatest villain in all of Marvel. Like one of
Yep.
the coolest, greatest villains. He's just such an interesting character, and like the Russo brothers said, he's so complex. He's Thanos and Green Goblin for me personally are the ones that are close to him in regards to being the greatest villain in all of Marvel.
Hmm.
Um, and that doesn't mean the other villains are not great. Of course, you have great villains like Kingpin and Doc Ock and so on. I would have to go through, but Doom is just an amazing villain, and he has not been done right. There's a lot of concerns because he also hasn't been done right in the big screen because
Yeah.
you had the Julian McMahon one in 2005 and 2007.
Hmm.
Even though I liked his Doom a lot, I could, with the right storytelling, I really could have seen him play a really good Doom. Um, and then you have 2015, which is just a travesty of a film. And
Yeah.
but the same thing, I think Toby Kebbell could have done a great job as Doom if he was written correctly. But um, yeah, so people want Doom to go really, really well. But there is a concern that he will be a Tony Stark variant. Even though they said he was Victor Von Doom specifically, there's just it's just you can't really escape the fact that he looks like Tony Stark. So I do get why there's concern.
It's yeah.
So with that said, enough of me talking. Javi, take it away.
I
What do you think?
mean, Yeah, so when I heard about the news, I heard, very big news. I mean, Robert Downey Jr., I mean, the Iron Man, he's like the name and face of Iron Man, and that helped bring back his career. Now he's like a really well paid actor, household name, got millions and millions of fans. And yeah, I mean, in a way, I could hear how it is maybe could be a little bit desperate for Marvel, because everything got all messed up with the whole Kane stuff. But also too, I know some people do seem to be on board with it too as well. So it's a little bit of both. Most of the stuff I have been hearing has been generally positive about him portraying Doom. I think that he will do a good job with it. He did a great job with Tony Stark, so now we kind of see him. We've had him all these years as a good guy and as a hero, so now I think it'd be kind of fun to see him as the villain. And I think, and I know he's definitely well capable of it because he won an Oscar for it last year for Oppenheimer as Louis Strauss. So now to see him put in a villainous role as Doctor Doom, I definitely am excited to see what he has in store. And yeah, I mean, like you said, it could be, I mean, it's like, oh, well, who else did Marvel have, But I mean, I'm willing to give it a shot. I am excited for it, and I'm looking forward to what he has to do as Doctor Doom. And I think that it could possibly put Marvel back on the map. I mean, we all know they've been in a little bit of a rut.
Oh
I
yeah.
think the Deadpool and Wolverine that helped them out a lot. Deadpool and Wolverine because it was a fun movie. I very much enjoyed it. Very nostalgic too. Over the top, great humor, and it pokes fun of itself too. So it's self-aware. It
It was
very
like
much pokes.
billions.
Yes, and it's doing really well too at the box office. One of the highest grossing R-rated movies ever. And I remember when the first Deadpool came out back in 2016, it was like the highest grossing R-rated movie, and it surpassed that from 8 years ago. So I think there's some hope for the MCU at the end. I think with them, they just need to kind of just pull back because we've been just getting hit with a lot, and then we've only had really just one MCU movie this year, which was Deadpool and Wolverine. So I think just they need to pull back a little bit. But in regards to having Robert Downey Jr. As Doctor Doom, I'm definitely on board for it and looking forward to it. And with some of the casting that they've done too, with the Fantastic Four, definitely excited for that. And then they released the trailer for the new Captain America movie that comes out in February. That looks pretty good too. And you got a really good cast there. You got Harrison Ford, Anthony Mackie as Captain America, and then you actually got Giancarlo Esposito. So I mean, it looks like Marvel's kind of they're kind of circling back on some of their mistakes and they're trying to make up for them. So we'll see how it goes in the end. But so far, some of the stuff that they look like they have planning that's coming soon, it looks pretty fun and interesting, and I'm definitely on board for what they have in stores.
Yeah. I think that Robert Downey Jr. is a good choice, but I do
Mhm.
see why there's concern. Like I said,
Yeah, no,
it's too much
absolutely,
of Tony.
absolutely.
It's too much of a you can't ignore the fact he looks like Tony Stark, and I know some people would rather they be separate. And there's some people that would have preferred a different actor get a shot at this, and because there's a lot of big name actors out there. You could have had one that you know could have portrayed Victor Von Doom here, but I don't think RDJ is like a bad choice for it either. I think he could pull it off. Dude's got, I mean, he just won a freaking Oscar, and
Yeah,
he got nominated for the Emmys. This is where I also don't have any concerns for it that much either because he's nominated for an Emmy as well for a role, not just one role, but like five different roles in The Sympathizer, where he portrayed five different people and dressed up differently for each one, had different, makeup and
yeah,
hairstyle. Like he was like an old guy, and you know, then he was someone younger that looks like himself, and then someone with orange hair, and that also looked like him but didn't, and like it's I I think some people should see that show. One, because it's a good show, but two, because I think it would, calm down some concerns that hey, he looks too much like Tony Stark. Because if he goes the route of not showing his face like Doom usually does, or at least like, but I think that's impossible because you're paying Robert Downey Jr. a lot of money because they said it was a lot of money. I think it was 40 million or something like that. I feel like that's wrong, but that's what I heard. And
Yeah.
if you're paying him that much money, there's no way you're not showing his face. So, but there's a chance where they could show his face, and he'd look a little bit like Robert Downey Jr., but not too much like Robert Downey Jr. But also, I don't think that's the route they're going to take either. I think with it being multiversal and sequels, all this stuff, like I think it's probably going to be someone that looks a little bit like Tony Stark. So I'm fine with it regardless. I just hope the movie's good. That's all that I'm concerned about at the end of the day because, like
Yeah.
I said, this could be a disaster. This could be great. And I wish I could have full faith in Marvel for delivering a good film. Like I said, Deadpool and Wolverine was pretty good, but they have released a lot of flops lately. So, um, you know, I think when 2025 will be the year where we see if they're back or Deadpool and Wolverine was just a one-time thing with such a good writing crew and director and everything. So, and 2025 is not even just a big test for Marvel; it's also a big test for DC. This year's a little bit of like a soft, you know, soft introduction to the new DC universe. So you have Creature Commandos coming out in December, which is the first project ever to be in the new DC universe. And then
Mhm.
you have the Penguin, which is going to be an HBO original as well.
Yep.
You have
Soon, September
Joker,
comes up.
yeah,
Mhm.
September, and then Joker in October. But
Mhm.
2025 is going to be a real test because, Creature Commandos, like I said, it's a small animated show. It's the first project in the DC universe, something to ease us in, like a little bit of an appetizer before the big meal, which is Superman.
Yeah.
And Superman's going to be the biggest test here. So next year is going to be a big test for comic book movies because you have Superman, which I think will be good, especially at the cast is super. David Corn Sweat looks really cool as Superman, and James Gunn, of course, is James Gunn. So I'm not too concerned with that.
Yeah.
You have Captain America, you have Thunderbolts, asterisk. There's an asterisk there. I don't know why. Maybe they're going to switch her name during the movie. I don't know. Maybe it'll be Dark Avengers or something like that. We'll see. Um, or and then we also have the Fantastic Four First Steps, which I'm very excited for. That's my most anticipated movie of the year after Superman.
Mhm.
And then supposedly we're gonna have Blade, but I don't believe them anymore. It's a lie. It's
It's
BS.
been
It's not
there's been a
happening at
lot
this
of
point.
issues with Blade. Yeah, it's been a lot of issues with Blade, so we don't know if we're ever gonna get the Blade movie. It
It's
would have
like
been
Flash.
cool. Yeah, so it would have been cool, but yeah, but many spoiler though, we did get to see Blade and Deadpool and Wolverine, so
Yeah,
that was a
and I
fun
was gonna
one.
bring that
So
up because he's
yeah,
also called out the Blade movie too, where it's like, "I'm the one and only Blade."
yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
they did a fun on that. So
they did a
y-
joke about the delays, so they acknowledged it, which is fun.
yeah, but yeah, I mean, like you said, I mean, we'll see how it goes. It's a little bit of a like a soft opening, like you said, for Marvel and DC in 2025. So we'll see how they land. It looks like they have some good projects. I mean, with the Superman and James Gunn, that's very big. And then with the
Yeah,
new Captain America, I saw the trailer. It looks really good. So yeah, I mean, things could go their way in 2025. Let's hope for the best for them. Then, but yeah, we just
yeah.
have to wait and see.
What'd you think about Blade, by the way? Like, how'd you like Blade and just ever what? I think I like Gambit a lot too. This is Deadpool and Wolverine,
Gambit
by the
was
way. Returning
Gambit was
characters, I
fun
think they
too.
all did a great job. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they
like
all
Channing Tatum's freaking stupid accent.
it was great to see them. I thought I really enjoyed that sequence, and I was like very surprised to see Blade Wesley Snipes return as Blade. It's been like what, like 20 years since he last been Blade, since Blade Trinity.
Yeah,
So yeah, but it was really fun and cool to see them, and just all those characters in general. It was really
yeah.
fun.
Gambit's awful Cajun accent, like
Yeah,
that was funny. They made fun of it a lot. Where he's like, "Oh, who's your dialect coach? The Minions?" Like,
yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
then you had Electro was pretty cool. Blade, seeing Wesley Snipes again was badass.
Hmm.
Um, X-23, seeing her again, awesome. And yeah, I think it was just a very fun movie. But the best one, Chris Evans returning as Johnny Storm. See,
Johnny
they said
Storm.
They set that up so perfectly too, because not only does that is that a good setup for the joke, because you had the joke where he's gonna be, Deadpool thought he was Captain America, and then
Mhm.
he's like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna say, he's gonna say it," and then he's like, "Flame on," and he's like, "What?" And like, I love that joke. That was such a great
Yeah, that
joke.
was funny.
But you know
Yeah.
what? That's actually a good point to bring up now. Um, because for all the people who are complaining, oh, Victor Von Doom looks too much like Tony Stark. Well, it's established now that counterparts can look like other counterparts. Like, uh, Johnny Storm looks exactly like Captain America, so I could see,
Yeah, there you
it
go,
works.
yeah.
It
It
actually
worked,
kind of works now.
it worked, yeah. Now that if you look
I
at it, yeah,
actually
that's a
thought
good
about
point.
that. Like, I actually thought about that because at first, like I said, I wasn't like I was more shocked in the news, but I wasn't like too initially super fond about it because I was like one of those people who like, oh, he looks too much like Tony Stark. But once I saw Deadpool and Wolverine and with the Johnny Storm joke and everything, like, and him return, which, seeing him die also made me sad as a because even though those movies aren't good, I did enjoy the Fantastic Four Tim
Oh,
Story
yeah,
ones.
same, yeah, just
And
kinda grew up with them, yeah.
it's a guilty pleasure movie for me because I watched them as a kid and I loved it. But it did set up the fact that some counterparts in the multiverse will look like uh other superheroes. So or supervillains in that, in Tony Stark's case where his one of his multiversal counterparts will be Victor Von Doom.
Mhm,
So it's yeah, no, it's interesting and it works. And like I said, they set it up pretty well with bringing in Johnny Storm, Chris Evans as Johnny Storm. So yeah, and then yeah, I think that's pretty much it in terms of Marvel Studios. And yeah, so the last thing was actually that, but I guess I'm gonna add one more thing too that I want to talk about for 1 minute. The last topic, I promise. Shrek 5
Shrek
because
5.
we missed that too. Shrek the King has returned, and I'm very excited for the film. So, what do you think?
I'm excited. I'll be on board for Shrek 5.
Yes.
Growing up, I was a big Shrek fan, and it's crazy too. Shrek. So the first Shrek came out in 2001, so I was like 5 years old, and I remember seeing it in theaters. And now Shrek 5 is going to come out in the summer of 2026, and I'll be 30. So that's just so
Yeah.
crazy to me how I was the first one I was 5, and now the fifth one I'll be 30. It's just mind blowing, but I'm definitely on board for it, and
Yeah.
it should be fun. I enjoy all the Shrek films. One and two are great, and three and four, three and Shrek the Third and Forever After, I thought were still pretty good too as well. And yeah, it'll have the original cast back as well, and it should be a fun time for sure. Good to see these characters back.
Shrek 2 was my favorite Shrek, and it still is my favorite Shrek. Shrek 1's amazing, of course.
Hmm.
Shrek the Third, meh, but I don't hate it. And then Shrek Forever After was pretty decent. So I hope Shrek 5 is more like 1 and 2 than it is 3 and 4.
Yes.
Um, Especially because this is the first Shrek movie since Forever After,
Yeah.
but not the first Shrek related movie, of course.
Mhm.
But this is the first solo Shrek movie since then, so it'll be about 15 years, I believe,
Yeah.
since or 16 years since the last solo Shrek movie. But
Wow.
then you had Puss in Boots, and The Last
Yes.
Wish was a amazing movie.
Very good.
So I
Very
hope
good.
it's along the same quality as Puss in Boots: The Last Wish than it is, Shrek 3 and 4. Because yeah, no, even Puss in Boots 1 is also amazing too. That they have done a really good job with the Puss in Boots movies, so I hope they keep up that quality of film for the Shrek franchise because like I said, they're doing a great job in the Shrek franchise for Puss in Boots. Let's see if they do it for Shrek's first film in 16 years by the
Yeah.
time it comes out.
And then also when they announced that news, they also announced that there'll be a donkey movie as well. There'll be a donkey film
Yeah, I don't know why.
surrounded
I'm not interested
on
in
this
that.
character. So we'll see how that goes too. But yeah, they announced that.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. That one's I don't know
Yeah.
why. What's he gonna do? Just run away? He's a donkey.
Yeah,
It's not like
yeah,
Boots who can fight and everything,
yeah. He has the
but
so yeah, he has the like Zoro. Yeah,
yeah, like
yeah.
Puss in Boots, I think he works without Shrek. Like
Hmm.
he could do stuff without Shrek and everything, but I don't feel the same with Donkey. I feel like you need Donkey with Shrek.
Yeah, that's true. They're good. They're a good pair for sure.
Yeah. Whereas Puss in Boots, he already had his own lore and everything too. Like we already know he was solo. I mean, so was Donkey, but and Shrek, of course. But I don't think it's the same. Like Puss in Boots was like you could do more interesting stuff with Puss in Boots because he's an assassin. No, you know what I mean.
Hmm.
He's maybe
Yeah.
not an assassin. That's the right word, but you know what I mean. Like I guess like a bounty hunter in a way.
Yes.
And he has his own lore and he's badass and fights and all this stuff. So yeah, you can do a lot with Puss in Boots. You can't do really much with Donkey. So, but I could be wrong. Maybe it'll be a decent movie. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, with that said, guys, I think this will be it for the first ever live Real Rap Podcast, episode 21. Sorry for the last 2 months being gone. But, we're going to try to figure out a schedule to do these more. We'll see if we'll do more live ones or more. And of course, we're going to do some taped. But we'll see, depends on our time and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like this live stream. The live stream is cool.
Yeah. It was
Um,
fun. It was fun.
yeah,
Yeah. We'll definitely try to see if we could get back into our regular, like how we first started, kind of doing a episode every week. Uh, we're still in the works of trying to figure that out, but we'll definitely get that out for you soon for you guys, and we're definitely working on getting more episodes and reviews for you guys. So we appreciate you guys tuning in with us.
yeah, there's no, if you guys haven't notice there's been no lack of reviews lately. In fact,
Mm.
there's going to be more this week. We have Maxine coming out tomorrow. Quick wrap reviews of Maxine, Challengers on Thursday, and Last Night with the Devil, Late Night with the Devil on Friday, which I saw today. Great movie, but just hear my
Oh, nice.
thoughts on Friday. Yeah, you guys can hear my thoughts on Friday. 1 minute review. Um, and yeah, thank you guys again for supporting too. By the way, like, let me tell you guys, it's been beginning of this year and the end of last year was really rough for me. And we had, I took that hiatus because I was unable to edit because I was just not in a good mental state and everything. I was just going through it very badly. And then I started editing again, and Javi had his reviews and all, and it was we both knew it was going to take a while to rebuild, get back our viewership because we took such a long break. But to see that we're back at where we were before, and not just that, everything's been going up in terms of even subscribers. We want to thank you, thank you all for everything. It's great to have all this support, have so much momentum going, and thank you for watching our reviews. It means so much to
Yes.
us.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. We appreciate the support. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, so I guess that's how we're gonna end the stream today. Thank you guys again for watching the Real Rap Podcast live, and we'll see you guys next time. And we'll announce it. But be sure to check out my review of Trap once again, and be sure to check out my reviews of Maxine, Challengers, Late Night with the Devil, and Sunday Land of Bad. And I'm gonna have more reviews next week. You guys, there's not gonna be a lack of reviews at all. There's gonna be so many coming out, and especially with Borderlands 2 next Tuesday. I think it might be coming up, but I'll confirm later. And then I know Javi's cooking up some reviews soon. So, yeah. With that said, guys, thanks again for joining us. This has been JP Bonilla,
It's been Javier.
and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.